Hi, Statesmen Nation. We're sitting down with head men's basketball coach John Henry as we preview the 2025-2026 season. Coach, before we get into 25-26, let's break down last year quick, all the goods and the bads and all of that, and then we'll move forward.
Wasn't a whole lot good, but to cover it quickly, when 11-17 started out 8-2, the sky fell in. And still never really figured it out, even in the spring and summer. But moving on, from last year to this year, got out and had a little bit different approach to recruiting. A lot of change in our roster and in our staff, and like where we're at now. So I want to focus on the now.
There you go. We'll get right into it. All right. You just mentioned the off season and how you wanted to attack differently. I guess let's stop there and we'll talk about that for a second. What were you wanting to do differently in recruiting to change things up?
I thought it was important after the long run that we had of so much success and the recent not so much success, kind of switch gears and evaluate everything across the board. And just tweak a lot of things.
Sure.
Still staying with the same principles, but making sure that we have the proper people in place as far as the players that believe in what we're trying to do, and the standards and the benchmarks to what we're trying to do, both academically, socially, and basketball.
Okay. All right, let's break down the roster however you want to do it. Sometimes we can go with returners and newcomers, but almost entirely newcomers. So let's break it down. Start with point guards.
Well, we haven't played a game yet, so I'm not going to get too in depth on the roster. I'll just say that we don't have a returning player on this team. We do have two returning red shirts. Two young men that sat out, three young men actually that sat out last year that are going to be prominent members of our team. And that is Javion McCrary, D2 transfer out of Alabama, out of the state of Alabama. Actually a friend of Dexter Hood's, one of the all-time greats around here. Donovan Rodriguez, a Philadelphia kid, and Alif Bass, also an East Coast kid. That all three of them will be major contributors this year. Having been around, Alif and Donovan were around all year last year on the shelf. And Javion having come in at Christmas last year, it helps that they were at least around to see maybe how things were not to be run, but also to understand the staff, myself, the surroundings of the university, the opponents we play, and just how we do things across the board. And then building pieces around those three wasn't necessarily difficult because they're three really good players. But having to find so many players and then making sure that you're right. We got a bunch of players between the JV and the varsity, a lot of players to try and find the proper 12 to 18 that fit properly on the varsity, and continue not only to build for this season but for the future with red shirts and cross the board evaluation of every single guy that came here was quite a process, and we're still not through with it, and that's one of the reasons why I'm not going to break down our entire roster, because we don't open up until Wednesday, today being Monday afternoon, and there's still decisions being made. I know you don't like that.
That's fine.
But there's still a lot of decisions being made in our JV rosters as well. But those are the three guys that returned. And then I would say, if you were asking me to headline some other guys, Davion Boulware, he goes by Bone, Fode Sharif, Javen Tyndall, Jonas Muhammad, Chase Page. I could go. I'm not going to break down the entire roster. I'm not going to go by position either, because a lot of these guys are playing a lot of different positions.
Right.
You'll see a hybrid of what we're trying to do offensively, without necessarily a five-man, a true five-man. Over the years, we've been blessed to have, so many not only great post players, but guys who went on to play after college at that position. We don't have that. And that's why the game has changed, with the portal, NIL, and COVID. basketball is the sport that's probably been hit the most with all of the changes, and that trickle-down effect, those players aren't available that much anymore. So, having to reevaluate everything, that's part of this whole change as well, is that it is just so much different. It's almost like a different sport lately. But I feel like we've got a handle on it now, and we'll see. We're going to do things the right way and teach a fun style of play, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, last year, sitting at 8-2 right before Thanksgiving, I thought the world was good, and then I think we lost 11 out of 12. And a lot of things went wrong. Just trying to keep all that from happening.
Sure. All right, let's break down the schedule a little bit. We'll talk about conference in a second, but obviously just a few games outside of conference that you can play just because we have such a big conference. But how are those games going to prepare you? And it's a little bit different look than you've had the last few years, but getting an opportunity to play just a wide variety of teams.
Well, it's an interesting year because we're not round robin and adding teams to the league. So you're only allowed, so many non-conference games, but it is a little bit better than last year, only having, I think it was 4. We had 2 successful scrimmages at DMAC and home Indian Hills. Great games against great competition. Indian Hills being the local team, and then DMAC having, 2 former assistants. They're now head coach and assistant there. But we open up with Rockford at home on Wednesday night. Head coach Jeremy Regal was on the staff. I think it was 07 or 08 after Vennard closed. Mm-hmm. A very good friend of mine, one of my best 5 coaching friends in the world, and just great friend of mine, period. And then, we're off to Chicago. That's been kind of a tradition for us to go to Chicago for the Governor State Classic. I think this is year 6 in a row, maybe 5. But it's good for us to get out, stay overnight, learn how to travel, all those things. Come back with 2 home games, Hannibal and Kansas City Christian, and then we're off to Northwestern, which is preseason number 8. I think that's underrated, to be honest with you. I think they'll be in the national championship hunt. Got a lot of pieces over there, and moving on to conference. Starting right away. I don't know anybody who starts playing conference games before Thanksgiving, right. But we do, even with an unbalanced schedule. And then we've got 2 non-conference games mixed in there where we, December 18th, play in Milwaukee against Rochester Christian School out of Michigan, but we're playing at the Milwaukee Bucks Arena on the 18th. It's a day game. And from there, the guys will leave for Christmas break, the holiday break. Come back, start conference back up, and then somewhere in there, I don't know the exact date. I think it might be January 7th.
7th or 8th,
I don't know. Yeah, something like that. We have another non-conference game. Oak Hills Christian comes to us. So I like the way the schedule sets up. It's a different, but I like the way it sets up. I think it plays strategically. It's placed in proper places. As far as the schedule, we don't really have any excuses. It's set up pretty well.
Yeah. Conference-wise, every game in the heart's tough, right? You have schools that maybe aren't normally great in other sports, but they're really good in basketball. Graceland, Peru State are going to be right there at the top in the preseason poll, but then the likes of the normal heavy hitters of Mid-American Nazarene, Central Methodist is up there, Baker coming off sweeping the titles last year. Where do you see the conference kind of going, and where do you see the Statesmen falling in there?
I have no idea. Being the coach of this team and being confident in our guys, I'd like to say we will be at the top. You say the normal teams and certain sports are different, but over the years, it's always been us, and embarrassingly, it's not, and it's up to us to make sure that we get that back, not only as the current team, but for the teams of the past, and represent the way that we have on a regular basis. Again, Graceland, I believe, is pick number 1, then Peru State, as you mentioned. You could go all the way down. I think Grandview is going to be really good. Their point guard and post player are top shelf. Excellent coaches across the board. I wouldn't be shocked if Culver Stockton was really good this year. I could go on about every single program and every single coach in our league and the great players that are there. It's every year, and it's fun. And that's why you're in a conference, so you can play people on a regular basis and have a championship and geographically and all that sort of stuff. I'm not going to break all that down, but the heart is tough, and it'll be fun.
Yep, sure. All right, let's throw a bow on it. What's it going to take for this team to reach the goals you guys are setting?
Just continue to work every day. I mean, it sounds cliche. Every coach gets in front of your microphone and says the same stuff, just to maybe a different listener. So, just continue to work every day. Stay healthy. All those things. Blah blah blah. Coach speak. Insert here. But for us in particular, just take into what we're trying to do, and I think it's going to be very interesting. I think we're going to surprise a lot of people if things play out the way that we believe they're going to play out.
Yep.
I'm not going to.
I know I wasn't sure if you had any
I'm
more.
right on the tip of my tongue. I have something I really want to say, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Say it at the end.
Nope.
Say it at the end of the year.
Well, I would like to say it now and then go back to this, but I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to let it stay right there and not regret it. So
there you go. All right. Once again, head men's basketball coach John Henry as the season begins on Wednesday against Rockford, and then 27 more games after that, and then conference tournament and everything else. So everything William Penn men's basketball on statesmanathletics.com, as well as all of our social media channels. WPU Athletics. Coach, best of luck this season. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.